News updates online at 560theanswer.com.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Scott Tucker Solutions and his show Retirement Decoded. Sunday mornings at 8. Learn more at scotttuckersolutions.com.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. So Governor Jelly Belly has made landfall in D.C., preparing for his appearance before the House Oversight Committee today to talk about being a out and proud sanctuary state governor.
Yeah, actually, he's been there since Sunday, and he hired some Republican law firm to grill him and question him every day. He's been practicing for 5 days, but, you know, this is just a dog and pony show, as he said yesterday.
I think there may be members on that committee who are simply there for a dog and pony show, who simply want to grandstand in front of the cameras. I hope not. That's inappropriate.
Yeah. Nobody despises grandstanding like J.B. Pritzker.
One who intends to come take away the freedom and opportunity and dignity of Illinoisans. I would remind you that a happy warrior is still a warrior. You come for my people, you come through me.
Mm-hmm. The same thing he used to say when he guarded the breakfast buffet at the Hyatt. You come for my people, and then maybe our next guest will ask him, well, just exactly who are your people that we are going to have to come through you to get the people in this country who pose public safety threats. That's what it's been in Illinois. Now, something else that could be bulletin board material for members of the House Oversight Committee, since Brandon Johnson has weighed in. They're allies in this. They're both proponents of sanctuary policies. And Brandon Johnson had this to say. Maybe Governor Pritzker would like to weigh in if he agrees with this. As long as Brandon Johnson is around and on the watch, the South shall not rise again. What about you, Governor?
They are absolutely terrified. And look, I remember a few stand-ups ago when I talked about what terrorism looks like. This is it. There should be no question to what our country will look like had the Confederacy won. We're seeing it on full display. And
so do you agree that ICE and members of ICE, law enforcement officers, are terrorists, and that what we see with their operation is what the country would look like if the Confederacy had won? Governor, could care to comment? For more on this, please be joined by Brandon Gill, Congressman from Texas' 26th Congressional District, member of the House Oversight Committee. We've had him on before, but you've also seen him in these committee hearings. He does a great job of presenting statements and claims that somebody testifying has made, who are then embarrassed to have their statements and claims read aloud and pretend that they didn't say or do the things that they said or did, and then you have these fun exchanges. He did it with Brandon Johnson. He did it with Catherine Maher, NPR. Hopefully he'll do it with Pritzker, Walz, and Hochul today. Brandon Gill, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Now, you don't have to telegraph everything you're going to do, but how about that? How about that statement about the Confederacy? That's pretty powerful.
You know, it is insane the way these sanctuary state governors and mayors view federal law enforcement. I mean, ICE and immigration officials are the ones who are getting the bad guys off the streets. They're getting the murderers and the rapists and the people who have no business being here at all out of our communities and back to where they came from, or getting them locked up in jail. And these elected officials, governors, mayors, leftists who don't agree with the president's immigration policies or border security at all, are actively working against law enforcement. They're encouraging these riots in our cities. And you ask the core question, which is, who are their people? Who do they actually represent? Do they represent illegal aliens, or do they represent American citizens?
Yeah, in his statement, which has been released, they do something else too, this sophistry. This is from Pritzker's prepared remarks. You'll have to endure this before you get to ask questions. As individuals fleeing poverty, violence, and persecution arrived at our border, our nation's leaders were confronted with a choice. Will we do everything possible to make the promise of America the practice of America? It's all of this sort of phony Emma Lazarus, huddled masses business. And then you have the reality on the ground, as we've experienced in Chicago and Illinois, of people who, Chicagoans and Illinois families who've been victimized by people in this country illegally who came with bad intentions and unfortunately lived out those bad intentions.
That's exactly right. The promise of America isn't unlimited mass migration of illegal aliens from all over the globe that are not vetted and that the American people have no say in. And that's what these people are advocating for. They're saying we should allow an unlimited number of people to pour across our southern border every single day. We're not going to determine who they are. We're not going to determine where they came from. We're not going to determine if they're gang members, if they are connected to the CCP or other entities that are hostile to the United States and our interests. We're just going to let them in because that is apparently the left's vision of the American dream. For the rest of us, it's a dystopian nightmare that completely transforms our communities from the inside out and makes them in many places unlivable. And that's what we're up against here. And you see that, of course, in L.A., where you have rioters who are waving Mexican flags, who are burning police cars, throwing rocks at police officers, looting stores, all in the name, I guess, of justice. But this is the America that the left wants for us. This is the America we'll have under Democrat leadership.
Well, they keep framing what happened in L.A. as just, just a 2-block area or a 1-block area. What you're seeing is not real. So how is what happened in L.A. the past 4 nights going to affect the hearing today in your line of questioning?
Well, I don't want to get too far ahead of my specific line, but I think that it really highlights the problem that we're showing here, which is, you guys are intentionally coddling illegal aliens and working against federal law enforcement, federal immigration officials as a matter of policy. And that puts the American people in danger. That makes us less safe. And we can see that there in L.A. The images that we see every single day now are gripping. I mean, they are stunning that this is actually happening in America. So I think that is going to come up today.
Yeah, and I mean, what do you hope to get out of, a couple of presidential aspirants in Pritzker and Walz? Walz does the whole, I'm a sitcom dad, I'm a regular knucklehead kind of guy. Pritzker's very different. Pritzker has a very high opinion of himself. He gets very morally indignant very quickly. He does not like to be challenged. So it presents for some different opportunities if there's something that you and your colleagues are trying to affect today.
I think that it would just be good to hear them. Truly, they're going to be under oath. We're going to ask them pretty direct questions about what they think about border security and immigration officials. I'd like to hear them elucidate their views. Mm-hmm. You've talked a lot. You've said a lot of negative things about ICE officials, for instance. Why is that? What do you really think about immigration law? What do you think our border should look like? What should we do to criminal illegal aliens in our country? I think that would be really illuminating for the American people to hear them in their own words explain their views on border security and deportations.
And the hearing will also include testimony from angel moms and dads. Is that part of today as well, or are they just going to potentially be in the audience as spectators?
They're going to be there, and their presence, I think, is going to be extraordinarily powerful. Yeah. I mean, these are the people that we're fighting for here.
Yeah, and I mean, I think the point, and we make the point all the time here too, it's to a large extent, you're also talking about people that are in this country illegally, but who otherwise have not committed any violent crimes. And I mean, they're subjected to this too. I mean, the huddled masses you're always talking about, they're the ones that are being violated by drug and human traffickers. I mean, so even if you start from their premise, their argument doesn't hold up.
That's a very good point. And certainly legal immigrants in the United States don't like seeing illegals pour across our border and then have leftists and Democrat government officials want to tax legal immigrants to pay for welfare benefits for illegal immigrants who jumped ahead of the line, who didn't do things the right way. And, of course, to your point, it makes America less safe for everybody, including the illegal immigrants themselves, who are oftentimes trafficked, who are oftentimes brutalized in ways that are really disgusting. The path up here is one that whenever the illegal immigrants take that, oftentimes is sort of shepherded by gang members and coyotes and human traffickers. And that's not a pleasant trip. And that trip became much more widely taken because of Joe Biden's open borders.
Yeah, and can you ask them about the motives behind the open borders? I mean, did they do this to gain House seats and an electoral college votes because so many people are fleeing Illinois and New York?
Yeah, I'd love to ask them that. And I think that there are two things there. There's one is just importing voters, people that they believe will eventually get amnesty and a path to citizenship and then voting rights, who will then vote Democrat perpetually. And we see that in Washington, D.C. as a good example. I mean, we just voted this week in Congress whether illegal aliens should be allowed to vote in D.C. municipal elections. And a ton of Democrats voted to say that they should, over 100 of them. But I think, secondly, this impacts congressional apportionment to states that have a massive influx of illegal aliens. Take California, for instance. People are pouring out of California because it's a horrible place to live. It's governed terribly. All they have going for them is good weather, but everything else is a broke state with a horrible governor. But despite that population leaving, it's being replaced by illegal aliens, and that gives them more congressional seats than they otherwise would have. And that's a serious problem, that our actual congressional apportionment is based on population, not citizenship, which means open borders benefit states who allow illegal aliens into their country.
Brandon Gill is a Republican congressman from Texas 26, also a member of the House Oversight Committee. Brandon Gill, we'll look forward to your questioning of Pritzker and the other governors today. And then please, again, no grandstanding. J.B. Pritzker hates political grandstanding.
It's going to be a good time. Thanks for having me.
All right. Thank you so much. Have fun today. Good luck. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Connect with Dan and Amy using the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Business owners, now's the time for your business to make the move to a locally owned business bank. Hi, Mike Gallagher here to let you know that you don't have to look far. Signature Bank was founded in Chicago with a simple mission to help companies like yours grow